Maker's Mark is one of the most iconic bourbons around the world, and a lot of their success comes from the drinkability of their product. Sweet, smooth, no bitterness, they say. It's sort of a bourbon that everyone can enjoy. What I didn't realize about the operation was just the amount of manual labor that goes into handling all these barrels and the insane amount of real estate they need to produce the bourbon. So today, I'm heading to Loretto, Kentucky to see how Maker's Mark have kept their product consistent for more than 60 years. First up, I'm heading to the Independent Stave Company to see how they make custom barrels for Maker's Mark. One of the rules of bourbon making is that you have to use a brand new white oak barrel every time. So that means a lot of barrels.
So in terms of the cooperage process, kind of what we're looking at here, this is really the first step. This is called seasoning or air drying. Maker's Mark barrels, they're gonna be a little bit different, right? So they're gonna have like that 9 months, 10, 11, 12 months of seasoning, right? Okay. Essentially, if you wanna put it in a nutshell, you're gonna get a sweeter, mellower, a little bit of a thicker whiskey out of it. Every single one of Maker's Mark barrels comes right here. Actually, this yard that you see right here, this is all built specifically for Maker's Mark to house their longer seasoning.
What happens then to this wood from here?
So what's gonna happen here, we'll process this wood, it'll be dried, and then it'll go into the cooperage. We'll actually form each stave. We'll form them into a barrel. We'll char it. We'll send them on down the road. He's got all these staves being fed to him. First thing he's going to do, he's going to pick out the widest stave that he can find. That's going to be the bunk stave. Then he's going to proceed in a narrow, wide pattern all the way around, right? So not as easy as it looks. It takes about 6 months to get really, really proficient at this job. So this is pretty much the first time you're going to see somewhat of a barrel shape. It'll go down to the steam tunnel. Okay. We'll steam the barrel for a little bit. It'll soften those wood fibers, and then we'll actually bend the barrel into its shape.
After the barrels are steamed and shaped, ISC slides on their hoops, logos them up, and then sends them to the char machine where they are blasted up to char level 3 of 4, which is how Makers likes them. From here, ISC stores them for a while and then sends them over to Maker's Mark where they will be filled with White Dog, or clear bourbon that has yet to see a barrel. To start the bourbon making process, Maker's Mark gets 8 trucks a day of corn, barley, and wheat, which they will combine with water from their lake and turn into one of the world's most famous bourbons.
You know, the first step of making whiskey, once you've sourced the grains from the local farmers, is you got to grind that grain up. Okay. Right? You can't just use a whole kernel. You have to grind it up. So all the grain that we're going to process through the distillery, corn, wheat, malted barley, will all get ground up in a roller mill. And then we're going to prep it for mashing, which is where the batch process starts, which are these tanks right behind us here. The job of the mash cooker basically is to release the flavor that's in the grain and convert all that starch to fermentable sugar.
In your time here, have you changed any element of that, or has it been the exact same forever?
It's been the exact same.
Once the mash is cooked and all the sugars are released, the mixture is piped to a giant open fermenter and combined with yeast.
This is a fermenter that was just filled. We've added the yeast. Well, typically it takes 2 to 4 hours for that yeast to get acclimated to the new environment.
Right.
To where it'll start eating the sugar and converting it into alcohol.
From here, the mixture will bubble away for about 3 days or until the yeast has eaten all the sugar and turned it into alcohol.
So this is one that is probably about 2 to 4 hours away from distillation. What you can see is, one, it's got a very heavy grain cap.
So is it really as simple as the second the bubbling stops, you want to drain it?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, with fermentation, it's pretty easy to tell just by sight where it is in the process and whether or not things are close to being completed.
Next, the fermenters are drained and sent to one of the distillery's copper stills, which use a series of plates and steam at about 216 degrees to carry the alcohol up as vapor and drop all of the solids down below. From here, the alcohol vapor is cooled back down into a liquid state, forming what is called White Dog, or a high-proof distillate ready to be aged in a barrel.
So this is Maker's Mark.
Yeah, this is Maker's
high
distillate.
proof.
Yep, 130 proof, 65%. All distilled spirits are going to come off still looking just like vodka, right? So it's the barrel that's going to give it all of its color, and then obviously a lot of its flavor as well.
Right. At the cooperage, they said that the secret to Maker's Mark flavor was the barrel.
Yeah, I know Andrew very well, and that's exactly something Andrew would say. He'd like to believe that he has that much impact on Makers.
Right.
Andrew's a good friend of mine. Everybody's always asking, you know, what's the % impact from the barrel? I don't know that that could truly be quantified because there's so many things that go into it.
Well, we can know because we can taste it right now.
Yeah, you can taste it, yeah.
All right, well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
It's kind of good. It's got like a lot of vanilla and grain and...
Right. So this will get cut to 110 proof and then put in one of those brand new oak barrels.
What do those barrels cost you?
I don't want to get too much into that, but I mean, they're going to be upwards $100, $200 each.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So like, when you buy a bottle of Makers, I mean, you're buying some stuff.
Yeah, it's not cheap making good whiskey. I can tell you that.
Next, it's time to head to the filling line to see our freshly distilled White Dog get put into barrels.
So this truck is coming from Independent State in Lebanon, Kentucky.
Right.
These are the new white oak barrels that they produce for us.
These are the ones we just saw get made.
Yes, sir. Cool. And so from there, what we're going to do is visually inspect these barrels for any quality defects. So you can see here from that visual inspection I told you about,
Yeah.
this barrel has a cracked head here.
Okay.
See that crack down through there? This is at the very bottom of the barrel.
Right.
This is going to open all the liquids in the leak.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm not going to put liquid in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it back for them to replace
This is the
that.
kind of thing you wouldn't even notice just looking at the barrel now.
That grain's going to have a knot in it. Could lose your liquid. So anything, we're not going to chance, right?
Yeah.
We want a good quality barrel, and ISC always.
It's a big investment. It's real estate, it's time, it's
Absolutely.
a lot of whiskey.
Now it's finally time to fill the barrels with White Dog.
All right, yeah, you want to let me
Sure.
do some of your
Do you want to
work
fill
here?
or you want to buy? You
Let
do
me
it
at 'em.
all.
Let me at 'em.
All right.
What's the worst that can happen, you know?
You can get soaked.
Okay.
That would be
You
the
were
worst.
very quick to say that.
Yeah, you can get
That's
soaked.
maybe a little.
I don't know if you got like a change of clothes or something. You're going to hit your foot pedal.
Yep.
You're going to row. You want the bung to be like that.
Yep.
You're going to hit start one time. It's going to start bringing it down. You're going to hit start again. It starts it. You might want to get over here. It'll take off from you. There you go.
Uh-oh. All right.
There it comes. You kick
Foot
the
pedal?
pedal, it'll release it. Now you can roll it on.
Peace, bro.
You got it.
Is this all of the Maker's Mark in the world is going out through these two pumps?
Yep.
All right, let's roll.
From here, the barrels are trucked off to one of Maker's 46 giant warehouses. Sean says they actually have over 1 million barrels in storage at any given time, and I'm kind of blown away thinking about the constant investment and organization that goes into managing an inventory like that. Also, schlepping the barrels around the warehouse is definitely the most physical aspect of the operation.
Sean, can anything go wrong?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you just, stop it. The biggest risk that we have in the warehouse, oddly, is going to be your hands. Look at all these pinch points. So you're just going to take and you're going to kind of hold onto this chime and you're going to just kind of direct that barrel. Give it a good push. You got it.
All right, so I guess after like 1 million of these, you get really jacked and then you hit the beach and game over?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I've never really been able to. I've been more office setting, so.
Yeah. It's also not cold in here.
Yeah, it's really hot.
So now these hang out for how long?
5.5 to 7 years.
There are a bunch of steps left to get the bourbon into the bottles, but now I get to try some of the cask strength Makers, which is just Makers before they add lake water to bring it down to 90 proof.
All right, so if you'll hold this for me real quick. What we got to do in order to get this bung out, we've got to hammer around the area, and hopefully it's going to pop out. So, ooh, one shot.
That seemed like you had it set up
well,
to
you
go.
know, I'm just really good at this. It's liquid gold.
All right, this is, yeah. Cheers, thank you.
Cheers.
Wow.
Tastes better in a warehouse, doesn't it?
It still isn't bitter. Like I thought because it wasn't filtered, you'd maybe get some more harsh notes.
No, I mean, we work hard to keep bitterness out of the process.
Right.
Now it's time to get the whiskey out of the barrels with even more fun barrel technology. I love barrels. I love rolling barrels. This is the best.
All right, this is really freaking cool, you know?
So you take and roll that barrel onto the track. Just watch your hands on top. There you go. There you go. Give it a good kick.
Hell yeah.
You got it.
I did lots of origami as a child, so I'm pretty good with my hands.
You've loaded the barrels on the line, and now it's going to come over here to the bung drill, bung, debung is what we call it. And as you see there, he just drills the bung out and he puts your aerator in.
Okay, cool. So that's like a straw when you're trying to chug a beer out of a bottle.
Right.
It's a lot more. This one's more intimidating because this thing comes down heavy. Oh, whoa, they come right back. Hell yeah.
This length of this dwell line's giving it plenty of opportunity to evacuate all the liquid that was in it.
So what's this? This is all the loose char from in the barrels that comes out?
Yes. In that barrel, there's still some saturation of whiskey in that barrel, so you want to wash it out, rinse it out, and get some of that additional liquor out of it.
The empty barrels are now loaded with more lake water and sent to this massive 80-degree storage facility to sweat the rest of the whiskey out of the wood. After about 4 weeks, the barrels are drained, and this sort of whiskey water is used to cut the product down from 120 to 90 proof. The final product is then sent over to the bottling plant.
The bottles actually come in the same boxes that they're going to be shipped out in.
Yeah, so they're going to flip it onto the line so they're all in upside down. It'll go right onto the bottling line. First process is going to be rinsing, where we actually shoot about a shot's worth of makers at really high pressure inside to rinse and sanitize the bottle.
After a tiny bit of whiskey is sacrificed to clean the inside of the glass, they are finally ready to get loaded up with Maker's Mark bourbon. From here, the bottles are capped off, labeled, and then sent over for the famous red wax dip.
It's probably one of the most iconic pieces to our package is that red wax seal at the top. So every drip is a little bit different. Everyone has their own little style to it and kind of how their bottles tend to end up.
It's pretty mesmerizing.
It is, isn't it?
Do you get a kick out of seeing them in stores?
Yeah, but a lot of times when we go to stores, we're inspecting the quality on them to see how they look on the shelves.
When someone first starts, how can you tell that their wax isn't as good?
We don't have as many drips coming down the front.
You want more drips.
Yes.
What do you think of these different wax jobs here? What do you like in your dip?
My personal preference, I like a little bit longer dip. So like I like that one.
Yeah.
I do like the drips. This is one some people don't like. I don't mind it if it goes down.
All
It's,
right.
again, it's just something different. This one's got a couple
That's a
really
heavy
hands.
hand
Yeah.
there. That, wax is money, right?
Hey.
The finished bottles are finally boxed up and sent out to the world. The last step for me today is to try some of the final whiskey with master distiller Denny Potter.
I mean, I think the hardest thing for all of us, you put all this time and energy into getting that distillate into the barrel, and then you got to wait for us, on average, 6 years to really figure out whether or not we got it right. I don't know what I'll be doing in 6 years. Hopefully I'm still here, but.
Can I pour you a little?
Yeah, please.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I mean, it just tastes so different now, having seen everything. Part of me wishes you were like, shit, I gotta check something on this line here.
Well, if we've done our job, it's rare that it gets to that point.
It's crazy because every step is good, right? I mean, even the still.
It all plays a part, right? I mean, individually, they're all good, and we know what we're looking for in each individual step.
Right.
But it's all got to come together, and if any of that is off, you're not going to end up with that. Sweet, smooth, no bitterness, and that's, what we strive for in every bottle of Maker's Mark, and I think we've been able to do that.
That's how I would describe my day here today, Sweet, smooth, no bitterness.